Yeah, I'll start off by giving Carolina a ton of credit. They obviously were ready to play. I think on our end, it shows the importance of practice and the lack of practice and the continuity that we lost just because of the last 3 weeks. But we've got to figure out how to get better from here. And it starts with having the ability to practice consistently every single day, and we need that. We need that. It's tough in the middle of February to take off 3 weeks, sporadically practicing every few days. Some guys being able to do individuals, guys are being out. So wasn't fun today, but like we did after we played against Wisconsin early in the year, we've got to be able to figure out what was broken, get better at it.
Chris, you talked about earlier in the week about keeping the guys' spirits up and about so many ups and so many downs. What did you tell them in the locker room there after this game to try to continue to keep their spirits in good fashion after a game like that?
Yeah, man. First address some things that I think we had control of regardless of how much we practice, and that was our inability to keep them off the glass in the first 10 minutes, Jody. They had 10 offensive rebounds in 12 minutes. They had several of them on missed free throws. And then our inability to get back. We've been a really good transition defensive team all year. Obviously, Carolina's as fast as it gets. They have a relentless pace to them. And we didn't get the job done in those two areas. But, be that as it may, we have to turn the page. We got a good team coming in on Tuesday. And we have to make sure that we use tomorrow's practice and Monday's practice to improve our basketball team and get back where we feel like we were. And obviously we weren't today. But, just got to stick together. You got to stick together through, tough times. And, our guys have done that all year in the situation that, every team finds themselves in the country with, COVID and whatnot. But we have to be able to stick together, and worry about what's important. And improving our basketball team here the next 2 days in practice.
You mentioned the runouts in Carolina again. They shot 60.9%, but they had 29 assists. Their ability to not only get the runouts, but to make the right passes, it was just very difficult to defend that, isn't it?
Well, I think, their pressure bothered us deep in the first half, and it created some runouts for them. And again, when you give Carolina second and third chances, it puts so much less pressure on that first shot. Obviously, Kerwin Walton got extremely hot in the first half, which, we knew that. Again, we had 1 day to prepare, but, we knew that he was the best shooter on our team, and we allowed him to get, pretty clean looks. But when they did miss, they had the ability to go get it and put it back in. And that's just going to give a team confidence. And we needed to shut that. We needed to shut that faucet off, and we did not. And again, that gave them a lot more confidence. And then we started letting our offense dictate our defensive effort for the better part of the last half.
You mentioned early on they did a good job. They did a really good job on the offensive glass. You cleaned that up a little at the end. But the first 10 minutes of the game, you were right there. You played well. Was there something at some point that maybe the rust where it did kick in a little bit? Do you feel like the non-practicing or the inconsistency or what was it after 10 minutes?
I mean, there's so much you're trying to cover, Jody, in a day, and hindsight 2020. We got hurt trying to post trap. They were just quicker to the big guy diving. We lost vision a few times. We didn't get where we needed to get. And that was a heavy emphasis because of what Carolina does so well, and just too short of a turnaround for us to be able to implement all that stuff in a day. But I think the game got away from us when we started turning the ball over in the end of the first half. We let their pressure, whether it was pressure in the basketball, whether it was not having the ability to get open for a teammate, trying to catch the ball at 40 feet as opposed to, backdoor cutting and maybe having another teammate fill his spot. We could not run our offense close enough to the three-point line. That gave them transition baskets that, quite honestly, we hadn't given up really all year. But again, there's a lot that we got to get better at after today.
You hit your first three, Sam, and then you just couldn't buy one. And you did get some good looks. I felt like maybe a few that were rushed, but you got some good looks. They just didn't go down.
Yeah, we got some, rubbery legs. We need to get on that practice floor day in, day out. We need to our team needs to get in a rhythm. For 3 weeks we've had, 2 practices, then we're off. Practice and then we're off. Then guys are allowed to come in individually on their own with no managers or coaches. It's just been it's been a unique experience, and manifests itself in a very poor effort today that we've got to bounce back from.
And the last thing, you've mentioned it a couple of times, how important, you've got a good team coming in. It's been a crazy few days. How important are the next 2 days of practice for this team and the rest of the season? As
important as any 2 practices we've had all year, Jody. God willing, knock on wood, we can practice tomorrow. We can practice Monday. We've got to correct some things. We've got to be able to play with an edge on the defensive end. And then offensively, we've got to be able to get the ball to the guys that we want to get it to, and they've got to be able to convert those opportunities. And we got to get second chance points like Carolina did against us today. We got to get a lot back.
Thanks, Chris.
Go to Shannon.
Malik Williams made his long-awaited return. How would you assess how he played in his 11 minutes, knowing he still, has some rust to shake off?
Yeah, that's how I'd assess it. And he would, I'm sure, say the same thing. It was good to have him back out there on the floor. We knew he wouldn't be mistake-free. But, as he gets practice time under his belt, as he gets more opportunities in games, he'll start to develop a comfort level that he had a year ago. I'm sure there were a lot of nerves. I'm sure conditioning isn't where he wants it. But it's good to have him back on the floor, obviously.
Matt?
Hey, Coach. Matt McGavick with Sports Illustrated. Obviously, the long layoff is the biggest factor into what happened today. It is what it is. But what did you think about your team's overall effort? Because you guys were starting to turn the quarter before the pause. What did you think about the guys' effort given everything going on?
Yeah, we probably played hard for about the first 8 or 10 minutes of the game, hard enough. We certainly were, again, not mistake-free. We gave up several offensive rebounds in those first 10 minutes, really set the tone for Carolina. I thought we drooped our heads. I thought we felt sorry for ourselves, the last 25, 30 minutes of the game. And, it's been a wacky 3 weeks, I'll be honest, but we've got a group that wants way more out of the season than we showed today. We've got to have 2 really good practices here, Sunday and Monday, get better, and get ready for Notre Dame.
Any other questions? Coach, thank you. Go ahead.